my face. It's very swollen, and I can't tell if I think it's infected. So I may have to go do something about that later. I'm starting off so strong today. Okay, let me put on some background tunes. Yeah, I don't know what is my fucking problem today. But I woke up, I was like, oh, wow, that feels like shit. Taro flavor dude, thank you for the prime. Yeah, maybe it's these headphones. I don't know. Maybe it's like, I can't tell if it's, I don't know. Maybe I'll just put some ice on it later. Something like that. Something like that. Bamzilla Gaming, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Your ears usually hurt when you take your earphones off? No, it was fine last night. I woke up. Sometimes though, this is how I wake up. So I don't know if it has something to do with Farley. I'm not kidding you. Look at this. Isn't that so funny? So is that his leg? This is his leg. This is his back leg. That's his little paw. How do you not have pink eye? I don't know. So he does not like to when we go to bed, he does not like to snuggle when we go to bed, but at some point in the early morning, he comes over and he gets very close to me. I don't know if he's cold. I don't know if he just wants, I don't know what it is. Your Minecraft segue last night was legit the funniest scuffed fucking setup. That was so scuffed, but we made it work. We made it work. So yeah, I'll show you the full. This is like that. It looks not comfortable, but what do I know? It's so funny. Girl, my ear was so infected a year ago that I took 3 different antibiotics and naproxenum because I had 2 different bacteria in my ear. Do not wait. So it's okay. It's not in my ear. It's like right here. It's right here. I can feel it on the outside. So I don't know if it's like a pimple that's under the surface and ingrown. I don't know. It doesn't really. Maybe a clogged port. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just going to get through stream and deal with it later, you know? It's one of those. It doesn't feel like it's on the inside. It feels like the outside, but I don't know how it would be a pimple. Like, I never get those there. I don't really get that, so it hurts like hell, though. I've had swelling there before. It usually happens with earphones, but they usually go down. Yeah, these have definitely seen better days. Maybe it's time to get new ones, you know? The covering is just kind of gone. Do you clean the ear pads regularly? I do forget. Every once in a while I'll remember, but a lot of times I forget, which is not good. That's not very hygienic. Not that this is usually dirty, but you know, I do sweat. Which I forget about. Girl, get new ones like yesterday. Yeah. All right, I'll get new headphones. It's one of those that you just don't think about it until you go, oh yeah, I probably need to replace those. You can buy replacement ear pads if you want to go that route. Yeah, I'll figure. I will figure it out. Okay, people. All right, what do I want to start off with this morning? So, whew. Hold on a second. Let's, while I'm just still setting some things up, let's watch this little video on Year of the Fire Horse. Okay.
Lunar New Year is coming, and it's time to talk about the zodiacs again. 2026 will be the year of the horse. And if you were born in these years, then this is your year.
So what are the special characteristics of people born in this zodiac year?
I think
What
we're
are
known
they?
for being energetic, fast-moving.
Wait, so was anybody born in these years? 1930? Is anyone here born in 1930? Are you almost 100 years old? Anyone? We've got 1930, 1942, 1954, 1966, 1978, 1990, 2002. And if you're 2014, you should go. You should. Flo, do not say that if, don't even pretend. Don't be silly. So I'm going to guess for the most part, we have 2002, which would be 24. So you're 24 this year, or 1990. You are 36. 36. In the year of the horse, I feel like I will ascend this year. You definitely will, because it's the motherfucking fire horse. So you are turning 24. In the year of the fire horse only happens once every 60 years. The horse is the 7th animal in the zodiac cycle. It carries the associations of courage, freedom, energy, independence. And what fire adds to it is it adds ambition, it adds breakthrough energy, and a flair for the dramatic. I was not born in the year of the horse, but I definitely have the flair for the dramatic. So if this is you, you will be ascending. People who were born in fire horse years are typically described as very smart, very charismatic, very enthusiastic, got a little bit of stubbornness, that horse stubbornness. But the fire horse, so last year was the snake, okay? And so the snake was the shedding. It was the deliberate shedding of everything in 2025. And now 2026 is the vehicle to race down that path, that newly shed path. This is the year to take action. This is the year to start galloping down that path. Well, I quit my job. I'm moving to Central China for research, fire horsing my way into the future. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go.
Then this is your year.
So what are the special characteristics of people born in this zodiac year?
I think we're known for being energetic, fast-moving, and always on the go.
You've got a fast horse.
Seem very social.
People born in the year of the horse are supposed to be stubborn and hardworking, I think, like a horse.
Horses in Chinese culture, the most important thing is success. Horses runs very, very fast. It runs towards your target without a stop. People are very energetic, full of ambition, full of passion.
What's even more interesting is that 2026 is a fire horse year. No, not like that. No, there's nothing to do with Pokemon. It's something related to the ancient Chinese philosophy.
Ancient Chinese philosophy.
Many Chinese people believe that the world is made up of 5 elements. These elements interact in cycles, with each one generating or destroying another. It's a bit like rock, paper, scissors, but with two different cycles. In one direction, things help each other grow. For example, wood feeds fire. And when the fire burns out, it turns into ash that goes back into the earth. In the other direction, things keep each other in check. Water puts out fire, and earth can hold or redirect water. The five elements support and restrain one another, helping explain how things change in the world. In ancient Chinese traditions, time was also linked to the five elements, meaning every year carries its own element, and the coming year of the horse is associated with fire.
丙午年2026，丁未年2027，这2年都是属
2027, the year of the goat.
What we should
Fire
pay
years.
attention to is to see, never do something extreme. We should always see, keep a balance of our life.
Okay.
Don't go too fast. Of course, don't slow down too much. Just keep a balance, and then you will have good luck.
Just right in the middle, that balance.
Horses are one of the most beloved animals around the world, and it's an
Damn, the fire goat sounds kind of metal. Just imagining a goat. I'm just imagining the Elmo with fire.
animal that appears repeatedly throughout history and folktales across many cultures, from Greece to Australia, the United States, and China. In Chinese legends, there are stories of 1,000-mile horses said to be so powerful that they could run 1,000 Chinese li, or about 500 kilometers, in a single day. These horses were usually the mounts of heroes and emperors. One of the most famous horses in Chinese literature is a white dragon horse featured in Journey to the West.
Yo.
After the monk Xuanzang obtained the sacred scriptures, the horse was honored by the Buddha as a divine steed, becoming a symbol of bravery and perseverance. In another classic Ming Dynasty novel, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the war horse Chitu, or red
Low
hair,
fiber, thank you
ridden
for the
by the
prime,
legendary
10 feet high,
general
thank you for
Guan
22
Yu,
months.
is remembered as a symbol of loyalty, just like its master.
1990 horses.
Beyond
assemble.
classic literature, horses were also deeply
Horses are so cool.
revered by emperors.
We're all horse girls
For
this year.
example, Emperor
Yes.
Taizong of the Tang Dynasty Li Shimin had stone carvings of the 6 war horses he rode and placed them in his imperial tomb.
Shadowfax. Show them the meaning of haste. Just
The contribution
so
of horses to
majestic.
human civilization goes far beyond myth, literature, and art.
The rise of chariots and cavalry transformed the nature of warfare and shaped world history. The most notable example is the Mongol riders under the leadership of Genghis Khan swept across Eurasia, fundamentally reshaping the world of its time. And it's fair
What
to
is this
say
link?
that horses determined how far information could travel
Got you.
and how large an area could be governed. As civilization evolved, the role of horses expanded beyond the battlefield. They played a vital role in transport, logistics, and postal networks around the world before other faster forms of transport emerged. To recognize the animal's contribution, many fashion brands, car manufacturers, and even financial institutions today feature horses in their logos. But in China, younger people have given the spirit of the horse a new interpretation. Many white-collar workers now describe themselves as 牛马, which translates to oxen and horses, to joke about working long hours and hard jobs while earning very little.
Oh, it's such a joke, right? So funny. Just jokes.
In return. Recently, a horse plush toy with its mouth sewn on upside down unexpectedly went viral. Young consumers felt the mistake version reflected their mood at work far better than the original smiling design.
很多客户都喜欢，说的很有道理，适合当代上班的牛马精神。
Lunar New Year is the most important festival for Chinese people around the world, and it is also a major celebration and public holiday in many countries. In Korea,
It is genuinely, you cannot comprehend how massive the scale of celebration is. The Lunar New Year celebration is so massive. Over 2 billion people around the world have some form of Lunar New Year celebration in China, Vietnam, Korea, the UK, in the US, in, you know, various Chinatowns and other Asian communities, Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. It's huge. Hi, Caroline. I finally managed to catch you live. Yay! Welcome in.
Lunar New Year, known as Solar, is a time for family gatherings, ancestral rites, and traditional foods such as
Like, when I was a kid, I thought this was just Chinese New Year because we would celebrate it. We would call it Chinese New Year. I had no idea there were other Asian people. I was like, what? There's more Asian people in this world than Chinese, and they have their forms of celebrating Chinese New Year.
rice cake soup. In Vietnam,
Except it's
Lunar New
not
Year,
Chinese
or
New
Tet,
Year.
is marked by family reunions, special meals, and celebrations welcoming good fortune in the year ahead. The celebrations also extend to countries such as Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand, where local communities celebrate in their own ways with street festivals, temple visits, family reunions, and shared meals. While customs may differ, the themes remain familiar: renewal, good fortune, and hope for the year ahead. Here in Australia,
Yeah, that was one of the best parts of New Year, is that all the adults would give the kids the red envelopes. Red is obviously a color of great significance, and the red envelopes are filled with money, and they are given by the elders. They are given by married adults to the kiddos, to the younger people. And it was the best because you got money, and you got money in cool envelopes. It's every kid's fave, of course. I mean, who didn't want to open up a red envelope and there's a 20 spot in it?
Lunar New Year has
Where's our red money? I'm not a married adult. I'm not an adult. I'm not an elder.
become a shared cultural moment, from Chinatowns in Sydney and Melbourne to Brisbane, Perth, and even regional towns. The festival is
Not an
celebrated
adult
not only
either.
by Asian Australians,
I'm a
but by the
baby.
wider community through food, performance, markets, and public events.
Wish everybody
I'm just a
happy
33-year-old
the
child.
year of horse. Good luck to everybody.
Good luck. Good luck to everybody. Yes. So there are, again, depending on your culture, there are different traditions that are done. Chinese in Chinese culture, like I said, the hongbao, the red envelopes, are a big thing. Just the color red everywhere. You are supposed to deep clean your house before the new year. Once the new year arrives, you are not supposed to clean, because the whole idea is that you are sweeping away the old. You're literally sweeping away the old and ushering in the good fortune of the new year. So when the new year starts, if you're still sweeping, if you're still cleaning, you might be sweeping away that new good fortune, which you don't want to do. You do not want to do that. And then, of course, food. Food is a huge part of the celebration. And there are certain food dishes like oranges, fish, long noodles, like noodles that you don't cut. It's for longevity. And you serve a whole fish because it's supposed to be like symbolizing abundance. And the most important meal. So there's these celebrations last for a while. This is not like just one night, the way that we do, the way that the other New Year, December 31st to January 1st, is just the one evening. But the most important meal is what is called it's the family reunion meal. So it's when family come and travel from all over. They reunite and they have their reunion meal. And that's the big one. So similar to Lao New Year, we basically celebrate the whole month. Yeah, it's super rad. And then there are lantern festivals. So lanterns are a big thing. You light a bunch of lanterns and you either release them or you display them. And apparently lantern, back in ancient China on the 15th night, which was supposed to be the first full moon and also the big finale. It was the one night that young women could go out by themselves. And it was called Chinese Valentine's Day in ancient China because the young ladies could go out on the town. They could venture out because otherwise you got to keep them in the home. You cannot trust them. You cannot trust young women and could not trust young women in ancient China. So you had to keep them in the home every other night of the year. What else? What else am I forgetting? And then like, there's just a bunch of, there's a lot of ancient lore and symbolism and all that. So happy New Year. Gung hei fa CHOY, as we say in Chinese. Didn't emphasize the fat stacks enough. And did I mention the fat stacks of money? Although I think when I was a kid, I mean, it was a ton of money when I was a child, but I think it was maybe $50 total, but super fat stacks. I mean, no, not even $50. Cause I remember my papa would always give us, it was like $20. And then everyone else, it would be, sometimes it was like a few dollars, but you know what? Money is money. Money is money, especially when you're a child. And that was so much. When I was younger, I got nearly 2 hundos. Okay, that was not my fat stack experience. Growing up in the San Gabriel Valley, Lunar New Year pops the fuck off. So many parades and festivals. Yeah, it's really fun. So if you live near, if you live near a Chinatown or another Asian cultural community, go have a meal, go partake in celebration. It's very fun. So when we were in Japan last year, oh my God, it was a year ago. Remember that we went to the biggest Chinatown I think it was the biggest Chinatown in Japan. We took the train to Yokohama. Yeah. And then we streamed there and it was super fun. And I think Chinese New Year was happening. I think the New Year was happening. I was raised next to the equivalent of Chinatown in Paris. I moved 2 years ago. I missed the lion and dragon dance and all the fireworks. Yeah, it's just the Asians know how to do it, you know? Yeah, the soup dumpling explosion that happened in Yokohama. That was a year ago. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? What explosion? So we decided to try soup dumplings, which are fire, and they were incredibly hot and they exploded. Multiple. And the thing is that you would have thought we learned this the first time, but we just kept going and the soup dumplings kept exploding. Dial X, thank you for the 8 months. Anyway, if you have Amazon Prime, this is the perfect day to hand out those Prime subs in red envelopes. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free Prime sub a month to tuck away in a Hong Bao in a red envelope and dole out for the new year. Not cleaning after New Year explains extra Emily's house. Well, you're not supposed to never clean. It's just during the New Year's sale, you know? I don't know if that explains extra Emily's house cleaning. Anonymous, thank you for the 10. Thank you for the 10 Hong Bao. Thank you for the 10 Hong Bao. Okay, so this is news that was happening today. Oh my goodness, Hogan Long. Hogan, thank you for the 25 Hong Bao. Thank you very much. Gong Hei Fa Choi. Oof 2, thank you for the prime Hong Bao. That fat Hong Bao. Those fat stacks. Those fat Hong Bao stacks. Hondro, thank you. Thank you for the Hong Bao.
Daddy's me.
Oh yeah, here's the soup dumpling explosion if you missed it.
Oh, there's soup.
Oh, Caroline.
Not on the coat.
I love Ray's.
The coat.
I love Ray's. Oh, Caroline.
Go on, hey, fuck, Joy.
Do you need a towel or napkin?
Just drop it in my hand. Just drop it, Caroline. You're still biting.
Oh my gosh.
That's so good, though.
I'm
gonna learn from our mistakes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, learn from Caroline's
It's all over the boat.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Pokemon is.
I just got squirted on twice. Am I bisexual now?
Have you learned nothing?
The fact that it happens again. The fact that it happens, you're still biting, Caroline, desperately trying to still eat the soup dumpling, even though in crisis. Of course, nothing stops the soup dumpling. Nothing stops the soup dumpling. Okay, y'all, let's talk about what the hell is happening with Stephen Colbert. I cannot believe I have to defend this. But I have to. But I must, because this is bad. This is real fucking bad. This is a bad, completely bad censorship 101 move. And we have to keep defending these libs. Oh my God. Jason D, thank you for the raid. Thank you, Jason D. Everybody welcome in. Gong Hei Fa Choi. Happy Lunar New Year to all those who celebrate. But even if you don't, you should, because 2 billion people around this world do. So you wanna be where I wanna be where the people are, and the people are Asian and they're celebrating. They're celebrating New Year. So happy New Year, everyone. Gone Goose, thank you for the 2 months. Oof, thank you for the prime. All right, so y'all, I am so tired of having to defend centrist libs, but we must, because the Trump administration and its sniveling allies are forcing us to. First, they keep coming for the night show libs, and that is why we have to say no. We do not support this. All right, so here's what happened. Last night, Stephen Colbert interviewed Democratic Texas Senate candidate James Tallarico, and he is, by all accounts, on track in the polls to flip Texas blue. He is running against Jasmine Crockett. So, you know, as far as my ideal candidates go, not my ideal candidates, not progressive in the ways that would make them ideal candidates, but still for Texas, a big opportunity here. And anyway, what happened was Trump's FCC, Brendan Carr, head of FCC, reportedly threatened CBS if the interview aired. CBS caved, although let's not call it caving, because this is Barry Weiss and the Ellison CBS. So it's not caving. It's, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. What else can I do for you, sir? Please, sir. The Ellisons being like, please, sir, step in, sir, to allow us to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, sir, and have more of a monopoly on the entertainment industry. Please, sir. Whatever we can do for you, sir. Okay, so here's the full segment that Trump didn't want you to see. So Stephen Colbert, they still aired the interview, even though apparently CBS was like, no. And I think he said it on, let's see, does he say it at the beginning here? Dofus, thank you for 6 months.
Welcome back, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is a representative in the Texas State House.
No, he only says it on YouTube. Let me see if I can find him. Okay, so this is the interview that CBS pulled. So it did not air on TV, but they put it on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert's YouTube channel. And just to give you an idea, this already has 1.3 million views.
Welcome, one and all.
Or sorry, that is the Christina one. Where is yeah, this has almost 1.4 million views, and it was posted, it was posted on their YouTube last night. They just created a million. They just created a million James Tallaricos. They just created a million Stephen Colberts. They just created a million Jimmy Kimmels. They just created a million Jimmy Fallons. They cannot stop Barbara Streisanding. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, people who otherwise would not be tuning in, I think, who would not like really care about this, there's a higher likelihood now that they become aware because of what an absurd overreach of power this is. They made it bigger than it would have been if they aired it. I know, it's just it's ridiculous. Joel, thank you for the 5 gifted. You would genuinely believe people like James Tallarico are card-carrying communists. The way that the Trump administration is trying everything they can to prevent people from seeing this guy speak. It's crazy.
There you go. Thank you. Now, here's the thing. I don't usually say this to a guest, but if people are watching this right now, it's because they found us online on YouTube. I did an act of the show that's on tonight explaining why. It's not the first time you've caused some drama. FCC opening probe into The View after appearance by Tallarico. Do you mean to cause trouble?
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Like, this guy is, granted, I do think slightly better than Jasmine Crockett, but like, look at him. He's like a clean cut. He's a clean cut Christian kind of run of the mill Dem. Pretty white toast. Yeah, but huge for Texas. I mean, this is a pretty crazy Senate race in Texas, and they clearly view this guy as a threat to Republican power in Texas. This is who they're scared of. And remember, they call everyone communists, from AOC and Zohran Mamdani to establishment Dems. Like, everyone, according to Donald Trump and the Republicans, they're Nancy Pelosi, commie. Chuck Schumer, commie. They're all commies.
And
he literally looks like he's from the cast of Book of Mormon. I know. I expect him to break out into song. Hello, my name is Elder Price. Would you like to hear about the most amazing book? Ding dong. Hello. No, for real though, he looks like he is from the cast of Book of Mormon.
This is the party that ran against cancel culture. And now they're trying to control what we watch, what we say, what we read. And this is the most dangerous kind of cancel culture, the kind that comes from the top. They went after The View because I went on there. They went after Jimmy Kimmel for telling a joke they didn't like. They went after you for telling the truth about Paramount's bribe to Donald Trump. Corporate.
Yeah, at least he hasn't taken money from AIPAC. He talks about solidarity and fighting the corporate corruption and blah blah blah. But he's certainly not the he's certainly not the dangerous radical leftist that that Republicans are trying to make him out to be. So a good option for Texas right now, but certainly not a radical. What's his position on Israel? His position is the kind of typical Israel has the right to defend itself, but Netanyahu's the Netanyahu government bad. What they've done in Gaza, not good. He has talked about using leverage to stop. Offensive weapon sales to Israel, but he's a two-state solution guy. Yeah, he's a two-state solution dem, which is pretty typical. Is he pro or anti? Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. Austin.
Caroline, it's Austin Show from the Fear Hand podcast.
Wow. Austin Show. It's Caroline Kwan from the
Kwan Dynasty.
Yes, from the Kwan Dynasty. Gung Hei Fa Choi. Are you calling to wish me a happy new year? Are you sending me money in a red envelope?
Wait, is it what the hell's today?
What the hell's today? It's Year of the Fire Horse, baby. It's the new year.
Oh God, there's a new year every day, it seems.
Yes, you need to send me. You have to send me a lot of money, or else you'll have.
What do I say?
You will have bad luck.
I will have bad luck.
You will have bad luck if you don't send me a lot of money.
Okay, all right. I'm going to send you a lot of money.
You say Gung Hei Fa Choi.
Gung Hei Fa Choi.
Gung Hei Fa Choi. Yes.
Gung Hei Fa Choi. Okay, so the reason I'm calling you is because I'm trying to place a bet. I'm doing this Gaydar stream on Saturday with Hassan and Will. And I think I'm going to win. First of all, I think I'm going to win.
No, you're definitely not.
You don't think I'm going to win?
No, I don't think you're going to win.
Well, I disagree wholeheartedly. Who do you think is going to win?
I think Will's going to win.
You think Will's going to win?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. I'm unbiased as well.
I told them, and I haven't told them this specifically, but I've told chat that I am going to beat them so badly they won't even feel comfortable in gay spaces anymore. Like it's gonna be a bloodbath. All right, I'm going to destroy them on the Gaydar show.
Oh no, that means Hassan can't go to the Abbey like he does every weekend.
Yes, exactly. All right,
he will not feel welcome there.
Bet.
Okay.
I want to place a bet. One thing I'm really trying to do, trying to do a couple of things. One thing I want to get Hassan in the tub. That's one of them. Number two is, which I think is the better one, is I want to do a Fear and West Coast tour. Okay.
Okay.
Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, because it's my dream to perform in my hometown. And I can't sell it out by myself. So I need Hassan and Will and Cutie to help sell out the venue. All right. So, what do you think I should bet?
Wait, is the bet on Gaydar or the bet is on the live show?
On Gaydar. If I win Gaydar,
If you win Gaydar,
Iran West Coast tour.
Oh, okay. If you win Gaydar, wait, so that's the bet. Wait, that is the bet.
The bet is if I win Gaydar,
Yeah.
Iran West Coast tour.
Yeah.
But the question is, what do they get? Because I felt like just presenting the bet is, if I win Iran West Coast tour, if I don't win, then no Iran West Coast tour.
Yeah. And if they win, they get the satisfaction of proving yet again they have a better Gaydar than Austin show.
That's right. That's right.
I think that's a good enough. Trade-off.
I think that's great. I think it's a great trade-off. I think they would agree to it.
If they win, you have to go to. You can only go to straight bars.
Oh my God, it's on
for a month.
I gotta go, Carol.
Okay, goodbye.
This is a rare moment.
Wow. Okay, Gong Hei Fa Choi, send me $10,000. Bye. Love you. Austin pays for the next China trip. Yeah, fucking right. Yeah, fucking right. Okay, TK, thank you for the 18 months. Back to what we were talking about, which is James Tallarico being the biggest threat to the Trump administration.
Corporate media executives are selling out the First Amendment to curry favor with corrupt politicians. And a threat to any of our First Amendment
I would have never hung up on you like that. I know, Christian. That's why you're my favorite.
rights is a threat to all of our First Amendment rights. So I'm just
I'm real thankful. To fact check you, my network said our cancellation was a purely financial decision.
Got it.
And I remain very grateful for the last 11 years. Now, you grew up in Texas.
I
Here
did.
you are.
I did.
There you are. You can prove it. They give you the adult boots as a child, and you're
That's
supposed to just grow into them.
That's
I
right.
understand.
That's right.
You served in the Texas House, and now you're running for Senate. The race, frankly, should not be as interesting as it is. Donald Trump won Texas by 14%. Why do you think this year Texas is considered a possibility by Democrats?
Well, I'm an eighth-generation Texan. My family has been in our state since it was Mexico. And across...
So you're going to get deported, is what you're saying.
Across the state, there is a backlash growing to the extremism and the corruption in our politics. And I have traveled every corner of Texas already, from El Paso to Beaumont, from Amarillo to Brownsville. And we've had thousands of Texans showing up to rally with us. And I can't tell you the number of people who come up to me at the end of these events and whisper, "I'm not a Democrat," like it's some kind of secret. And we've recruited 14,000 volunteers who are out there doing the work all over our state. We have...
I will say one thing. Okay, so one effective thing about Senior James Tallarico here is that he is the grandson of a Baptist preacher. So he comes from, comes from a long generation of Christian Texans, and he is a Christian himself. And he uses scripture, and he's good at using scripture to advocate for his worldview, to advocate for, the right to abortion, protecting immigrant lives, etc. So he is the son of a preacher man. He's the grandson of a preacher man. He's not Mormon. No, he's Baptist, I think, because that's what his grandfather was. Shai, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you, Shai. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. We are talking about James Tallarico, the great communist threat to Donald Trump. He's not a communist, but he is leading in the Democratic primary in the Senate race. The primary is coming up, and Donald Trump, who has been going after our valiant communist leaders in late night, has used his power to force to tell CBS, like, hey, you're going to pull this interview. CBS, of course, was like, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. He's never claimed to be a Christian social. No, he's not a socialist. No. he's a liberation social justice theology that runs deep in parts of the South. Yeah. He hasn't taken any APAC money, but he did take some kind of Miriam Adelson funds. I don't know, kind of sketch. Yeah, there's also something sketchy with like his gambling ties. He's supported expanding legal gambling, which people are like, wait, hold on a second. How does that work? How does that work with the values that you have stated here? And I think he has like some mega donor who's tied to casinos. That was a few years ago. Yes, but it's something that people have there have still been, I think, concerns on that. If he's as a degenerate gambler, I'll let it slide. Yeah, so I mean, this was reported, I think this was reported last year about his kind of strange gambling position. He voted in favor of a bill that would have put the question to Texas voters through a constitutional amendment. His support for expanding legal gambling has alarmed advocates. I don't know. They're like, I don't get it. If he's all about the gospel, then where in the gospel does it talk about expanding gambling? Is that the Adelson connection? Yeah, I don't really know. Let me see. Miriam Adelson. Let's see. Yeah, this is not great. Dem darling showered with Miriam Adelson linked money. Texas Dem James Tallarico has built a national profile railing against GOP billionaires in politics, but has quietly accepted funds from a PAC backed by one of the wealthiest donors in the Republican Party. The single biggest donor to Tallarico's state house reelection bid last year was a group funded by casino mogul Miriam Adelson, who is so fucking evil, by the way. If you do not know Miriam Adelson, she is insane. Insane. She's the widow of the late Republican megadonor Sheldon Adelson, is one of Trump's largest financial supporters, and is a massive, massive Zionist. Genocidal freak. He received a total of $59,000 from the Texas Sands PAC through donations in February and December 2024, according to state campaign finance records. That makes the group both his biggest donor last year and one of his largest since he first ran for the state legislature in 2018. Yeah, so she's basically Amy Madigan's character in Weapons. Yeah, and if Amy Madigan's character was, a big part of her evil was linked through her support of Israel. She's like, I'm doing this to the kids because I gotta ensure that Israel remains strong. Anyway, so, James Tallarico is he's a rising Democratic progressive star. Again, he's certainly not the socialist or communist radical threat that Republicans are trying to make him out to be, but he is most likely going to win the Democratic primary and is posing a real threat to the Republicans in the state.
This is one of the most exciting parts. We have shattered grassroots fundraising records all without taking a dime from corporate PACs. And so this is...
And he's better than really Crockett.
It's a people-powered movement to take back our state and take back our country. And I feel like we're building something really special in Texas. And clearly, Donald Trump has taken note.
Now, one of the things that's come up in some of the conversations you've had on the Texas State House floor, which some of the videos I've seen you do, and one of the things that's gotten you attention out there is that you are a Presbyterian seminarian. Presently?
Yes.
You're a seminarian?
Yes.
Okay. The right attempts to co-opt Christianity, to say that, you can't believe in God, you can't believe in Christ. I think that Donald Trump might have said something like that at the National Prayer Breakfast, like you can't actually be a Christian and be a Democrat. But the religious right is largely a political movement that references spirituality, but it's a political. What heartfelt hand out to the people who want to use religion as a tool of political power?
Well, for 50 years, the religious right, a political movement, that is the perfect description for it, they convinced a lot of our fellow Christians that the most important issues were abortion and gay marriage. Two issues that aren't mentioned in the Bible, two issues that Jesus never talked about. Jesus in Matthew 25 tells us exactly how you and I,
Jesus was like, hell yeah, get them abortions.
and every one of our fellow believers, how we're going to be judged and how we're going to be saved. By feeding the hungry, by healing the sick, by welcoming the stranger. Nothing about going to church, nothing about voting Republican. It was all about how you treat other people.
Jesus said support Donald Trump.
I've said before, don't tell me what you believe. Show me how you treat other people, and I'll tell you what you believe.
I mean, look, this is effective. There are a lot of Christians, a lot of white Christians in a state like Texas. And to have a guy who looks like this, who's got the grandson of a preacherman background, is always quoting scripture and is always quoting scripture as a way to back up what his beliefs are, his political beliefs are. It's an effective strat for those kinds of voters. Yeah, being like Jesus was woke. Deanie, thank you for the bits.
And I think in our faith, we've got to get back to those fundamentals. My granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas.
Grandson of a preacher
man. When I was little,
man.
he told me that Christianity is a simple religion. Not an easy religion, he would always clarify, but a simple religion because Jesus gave us two commandments: love God and love neighbor. And there was no exception to that second commandment. Love thy neighbor regardless of race or gender or sexual orientation or immigration status or religious affiliation. And it's why I have fought so hard for the separation of church and state in the state capitol in Texas, because...
Well, I want to ask you about that.
Yeah, please.
Because you did, as a state rep, you fought against
James in some goddamn
a bill
Ralph.
requiring the Ten Commandments to be displayed in schools.
That's right.
Why, even on that level, do you think it's important to keep the separation, not just for the state, but for the church?
Well, because we are called to love all of our neighbors, including our Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, agnostic, atheist neighbors. And forcing our religion down their throats is not love. And it's why I have fought. It's why I've fought so hard for that sacred separation in our First Amendment. Because my granddad, he raised me to believe that that boundary between church and state doesn't just benefit the state or our democracy, although it certainly does, but it also benefits the church. Because when the church gets too cozy with political power,
sick mention,
it
rare.
loses its prophetic
so
voice.
Sick.
Its ability to speak truth to power, its ability to imagine a completely different world. And so this separation between church and state is something we have to safeguard. It's something we have to fight for. And I think we need someone in the US Senate who is going to confront Christian nationalism and tell the truth, which is that there is nothing Christian about Christian nationalism. It is the worship of power in the name of Christ. And it is a betrayal of Jesus of Nazareth. And I just want to thank you, Stephen, because I know you're not a politician, but you have really shown people in this country what Christianity should be and what it means to actually live out the teachings of Jesus, even in a talk show.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit on that. That's very nice of you to say. I would never lay that compliment to myself, because I think I fall far short of what my standards would be. But I will agree with you on this. I think that it is bad for certainly my church or any religious organization to associate themselves from a political party. Right. How must it diminish God to be associated
no hate like Christian
with
love,
something so small as a present political party?
That's right.
Because Imagine this. Imagine that you managed to co-opt Christianity. Imagine if you managed to convince everybody that Jesus was on your side. If you then lose the election, sounds like you've got a pretty weak Jesus.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the key is you don't want to fit the big thing into the small thing. And God is the biggest thing there is. And so to try to fit God into a political party, whether it's the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, you've got it reversed. And so it's why I think we have to remember to put those big things first, to put the love of God and the love for our neighbors before anything else. Because right now, what you've got is people baptizing their partisanship and calling that Christianity, when in reality, your politics should grow out of your faith, not the other way around.
Now, there's been some attention on your race in recent weeks after a TikToker that you met in person says that you privately said to them, and I want to get this quote, and they attribute to you, right? This person says, you
it's
said...
just so funny to me that because CBS tried to censor this interview on behalf of Trump, that now more people are going to probably go out of their way to watch it and or you know, hear about James Tallarico.
I signed up originally to run against a mediocre black man, not a formidable and intelligent black woman, supposedly in reference to Colin Allred being the black man, and you've denied this.
Yes.
Okay. You denied that you ever said that.
That's correct.
Okay. Allred continues to talk about it, even though he's no longer running for the Senate, correct?
Right.
So where does that stand? How do you, as someone who this person says this about you, you say it didn't happen, how do you imagine this gets adjudicated, and what would you like to say to people?
Yeah, I mean, we know that misinformation spreads on the internet, and it's sometimes like a game of telephone. As I said in my statement, I did critique Colin Allred's...
I'm going to be for real. I know politicians, you know, they lie and whatnot. I cannot imagine that he said that. I'm sorry. Just there is a way to make that more believable, and Allred did not make that believable. That he ran a weak campaign, and he was grasping for straws, and him being like, he said, I wanted to run against a mediocre black man, but now I have, but you know, whatever the rest of the quote. Like I'm sorry. I don't believe that.
Campaigning as mediocre, but I would never attack him on the basis of race. I respect Colin Allred deeply, even though we have disagreements on the best way to campaign and the best way to win Texas. My job in this moment is to try to lower the temperature, is to try to remind us that we are all on the same team, trying to change the politics of our state and change the politics of our country, because we are seeing the consequences of losing elections as we speak. And we have a moral imperative to win in November in Texas and to win across this country, because that's how we're going to get things back on track. And so I know things get tense in a primary. I know stuff flies around on the internet. I understand that. But I'm trying to get us all to keep our eyes on the prize, which is remembering we're on the same team and getting out there, doing the organizing work so that we can win in November.
Have you spoken?
I mean, honestly, there's been this stupid ass id poll in the Texas race. The same thing with the Las Culturistas hosts saying don't give your money to Jasmine Crockett. And then how you had you had id poll libs coming after them saying this is racism. You know, you're saying that because she's a black woman who's a threat, and that's why you want to vote for the white guy. Like, you're telling people not to give their money to Jasmine Crockett because of racism. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, basically the K-Hive strat.
I call them after all this stuff came out and everything started to blow up, just to reiterate what I said in my statement, that I do respect him.
And how did that conversation go?
I don't want to reveal anything.
Yeah, also, most black voters are supporting Jasmine Crockett. he is not the reason that Colin Allred's campaign fizzled out. Like, he is not the one who pushed him out of the race.
Private conversation, but I hope that he and I walked away with a better understanding of each other.
Now, you're serving in Texas House of Representatives. You've had your fair share of strange days. I understand you had to weigh in on legislation about, and I hope I'm reading this correctly, furries.
I did.
Now, I know what furries are, and is that the same furries that I do not use my work computer to search for?
That's right. Yeah, when I ran for public office, I never thought I'd be talking about furries in this job. But my Republican colleagues in the state legislature, they were promoting an internet hoax that Texas public school students were identifying as cats.
Yes.
And
I heard
and
this
that,
story.
Yes,
I read the story.
And that the schools were providing litter boxes to those students. I know.
My understanding is it's not just Texas, it's everywhere in the United States.
It's an epidemic. What I hear. Yeah.
Biden signed a law that had to happen.
Yes, forcing litter boxes in every classroom.
Yes.
Anyway, they decided to write a bill.
Oh, now you've got
to
my
combat
attention.
this completely made-up problem. And it fell to me as a member of the Public Education Committee to question the author of that bill. And so I just asked him a pretty simple question. Has there been a single documented case of a school providing a litter box to students? And he couldn't name one. And this video went everywhere. You can look it up online.
So the law was working.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. He actually kind of said something similar to that.
Oh my God, the fucking litter box insanity, the moral panic around kids thinking that they're cats, being encouraged to be cats and peeing in litter boxes in their classrooms. Yeah, litter box gate. That folks still believe. They still believe. I was talking to my friend and she was recently with her family and she's like, oh my God, my sister was talking about the litter boxes in schools. And I was like, that's not real. She's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And like, would not consider any other option. No, not my sister, my friend's sister. No, my sister. If my sister ever started believing that, I would be like, did you have an accident? Did you fall and hit your head? What happened? Were you, are you under duress? What's going on?
His response was that this law is to prevent that from ever happening.
Oh, I understand.
Which I guess that's true. But anyway, there is a point to this craziness. They want us talking about furries and bathrooms, so we don't realize that they are picking our...
Austin ended up betting that he would get an ass tattoo, the Piker Broadcasting Service. Yeah, fucking right. Yeah. Will. Hi, good morning. Apparently Austin has bet that if he loses the Gaydar stream, he's going to get an ass tattoo. Yeah, that was my idea. Oh, that was your idea? I should have known. I told him you were going to win. He's like,
Which
Caroline.
would be really funny because we would end up doing the tour and he would end up getting a tattoo.
No, I know. I was like, Austin, you are probably coming in third in this thing. Also, Will Neff, everybody. Good morning to Will Neff. Sorry, I got people. Okay. Marxist Masshole, thank you for the 14 months. Why is he wearing clothes? I know, strange, right? He's not shirtless. How about this? I will give Austin the tattoo on his ass. My sister also was talking to friends of hers who weren't really good friends, in my opinion, because they were convincing her that teachers in schools were going to turn her daughter into transferee. You know what? I'd be like, I would rather my child be turned into a transferee than, I don't know, face the reality of like being potentially shot in school. It's like, is this really what you think is the major concern here? That'll be great for the show whole stream. Yes, that will be really good. DJ Kento, thank you for the 6 months.
Pockets.
Okay, let me just
They
finish
are
this interview.
Closing our schools. They are gutting our healthcare. And they are raising taxes on all of us while they cut taxes for their billionaire donors. The culture wars are a smokescreen because the real fight in this country is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being the first guest to ever appear only on YouTube.
I'm honored. I'm honored. Thank you.
Representative James Tallarico, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So this was it. This was the interview. This was the interview that CBS pulled, but then Colbert Show still put on their YouTube. And this was another example of egregious censorship. Yeah, this is what they're so afraid of. This is what they're so terrified of. And also Trump, he hates the late night hosts. For as much as Trump, for as much as MAGA will go on and on about, communist, jihadist, evil, like that of Zoran Mamdani, Donald Trump showed more affiliation to Zoran when he came to the White House and despises the late night hosts. They are truly one of his top enemies because they're on TV and because what they've been doing for the last 10 years is make fun of Orange Man, That's like a big thing with not really Jimmy Fallon, because he is such a goddamn coward. But Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert are two of Donald Trump's long-term enemies because they are on television, because they are comedians on television doing these liberal late night shows, and because for the entire time that Trump has been in American politics, they make fun of him. Like that's a big thing on these shows. They love to make fun of Republicans, love to make fun of the Orange Man. And Trump, it sets him off. Yeah, Seth Meyers as well. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to understand the psychology of Donald Trump. It's really not difficult. So fragile, such a fragile ego. He can't wait to replace the popular late night host with his favorite podcast sycophants. Trump is a person that he usually will say whatever the last person who whispered in his ear said to him. You just have to egregiously massage his ego. Okay. Like just tell him how amazing he is. He's the greatest. There's nobody like Donald Trump. You just blow smoke up his ass. And he does. And you know how he always does that look, like he has that smug look when he's standing there and people are praising him. And he's like, it's what he lives for. It's what he lives for, to hear how amazing he is. Yeah. With those pursed lips, like, and so these guys are Trump's enemy. Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel. Joel, thank you for the gifted sub. Wow. Who would have thought that the greatest enemy to the current fascist leader are a couple of liberal late night hosts? I'm surprised he has no smoke for John Oliver, but I guess he's afraid his base gets educated. Well, John Oliver is on HBO, so it's kind of different from the Kimmel and the Colbert because they are on cable, like they are on TV. Trump doesn't watch HBO. He's not watching streaming. He sits there and he watches cable news all day. He is a TV guy. And the other thing is like I like John Oliver better than I like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel. John Oliver's focus is a lot more, it's a lot more detailed. The way that his show works is very different from the late night shows of Kimmel and Colbert. It's not that John Oliver hasn't gone after Trump and the Trump administration. He does, but it's not the same. Just like standing up on stage and making jokes about how Trump looks and just insulting him. You know, he's more about systems and complex issues, not just Trump. Right. If we went after more leftists instead of libs, he'd be more successful because libs would never push back. No, that's the thing of it is like you. Yep. Yeah, not wrong. Austin is trying to reach you. Oh, he's trying to call me again. He just called me twice. I had my phone on silent. But I can't.
It's Austin Show from the Fearhead Podcast.
Yes, Austin Show.
Am I bothering you?
Never.
Okay, great. I have the bet and we've laid it out. Are you ready?
I've already heard.
What?
Yeah, obviously. Also, Will told me it was his idea.
Wait, did Will call you just now?
No.
I cannot believe this fake motherfucker, Will Neff, is not subscribed to my Twitch channel. What? Look at this. Will Neff is not subscribed. I cannot believe that.
Austin.
Okay, anyway. Caroline.
Yeah.
Did you hear about it?
I heard about the ass tattoo.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I think I should administer it.
That would be. Have you ever given an ass tattoo before?
No, but I'm pretty smart. You know, I read. I can just read how to do it, and then I can do it.
But you'd have to look at my butt cheek.
I think I've seen your ass before.
Really?
I feel like I have. And if I haven't, I don't think that's something that I will be clutching my pearls.
Right. You've seen a man's ass before. You've probably seen Will's ass before.
I have seen a man's ass.
Yeah. I've seen Will's ass before.
Yeah.
And his anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've seen it all.
I've seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen Hassan. Well, actually, I've seen his butt cheeks because he posted, I think, at one point.
Yeah, Will and Hassan did used to post real slutty pics, so.
Yeah, they did.
Will has pictures of his, I think both of them do.
Yeah, I think both of them have pictures of their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, you think it's a good bet? You think it's like a Marsh claims that like it's not an even bet, but
I mean, you're gonna end up with a tattoo on your ass. You know that.
Wait, no, I'm
yeah,
not.
you are.
No.
Yes,
No.
you are.
All right. Well, I'm going to stream it, so at least I get content out of it. You know what I mean?
Okay, but you ready to get a tattoo on your ass?
I am ready to get a tattoo on my ass. I cannot believe that I've agreed to this, but I did. I can't believe that I am going to get a PBS tattoo. People, imagine this, Caroline. First of all, people that don't know what Piker Broadcasting Service is are going to think that I just like loved PBS, like public broadcasting service.
You love it so much that you just have to put it on your ass. So every time you sit down, it's just infused.
Yes, it's infused.
It's just,
public.
Yeah.
People are going to think that I love PBS, which is fine, honestly. Save PBS. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Caroline, I won't bother you at all because I know you have something very important coming up at 11 a.m.
Wow. How do you know that?
I'm in your Discord and I get your notifications.
Oh, you're in my Discord?
That's right. Tell everybody what's going on at 11 a.m.
Oh, well, I just have a friend, journalist friend who I have on and I'm interviewing her. That's why I'm streaming this morning. I'm so...
No, I know.
Oh, these mornings.
For Lady Kwan to get up
For
at
Lady,
this hour
for
is
Lady
an
Kwan.
absolute miracle.
Lady Kwan has to get up a couple times this week early, and Lady Kwan and Peasant Neff do not go to bed early enough.
No, you guys stay up till the sun comes up.
Yeah, us trying to go to bed early. I mean, we stream though a lot of times until at least midnight,
right?
Or after, you know. So even,
it's true.
But anyway,
it's true. It's true. All right, Caroline. Well, you are the most beautiful woman I've ever spoken
Oh.
to. And I just want you to know that. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I appreciate you taking my calls this morning.
Love you so much, my liege.
I love you. And happy Lunar New Year.
Thank you. Gong hei fa choi.
Gong hei fat choy. All right.
All right, Austin Show. Bye-bye.
Have a good morning. Bye-bye now.
Gung hei fat choi. Gong hei fat choi. Will Toax, thank you for the 9 months. Oh my God. Okay, I need to go get some more. I need to go get some more caffeine because also this is a very funny screen pause. It's Jennifer Garner and Stephen Colbert fusing together, like in that movie together. Wow. That would be so scary. Okay. All right. What do I want to look at here? Speaking of John Oliver, I bet we can watch some of this. We could get to some of this because I want to talk about this and I want to talk about Homeland is coming for all of us, in case you don't know. But here's the thing. If we all post fuck ICE, they can't arrest all of us, you know? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Arrest all of us? Cut to. Oh, come on. What are they going to do about it? But if every single one of us posts about how stinky and stupid Kash Patel, the FBI, the DOJ, Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, DHS, all of them, fuck them. If we all rush Area 51, one of us will find the aliens that Obama told us were real. Exactly. We're all going to post fuck ICE, and then we're going to rush Area 51. And what are they going to do about it? Yeah, okay, so let's talk about... Signifier just he finally put out his video. He said it is his magnum opus. When I was talking to him before we shot the podcast, he's been working on it forever, and it is a deep dive into the world of Tyler Perry. It is 4 hours long. I think I will watch it at some point. I like to, you know, it just came out, so we'll probably wait for a little bit. Oh my gosh. It's Mardi Gras, the Grambit Parade. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Wow, thank you for the bits. Thank you for all the bits, everyone. Happy New Year. And it's Mardi Gras. Oh my gosh, there's so much that is happening. Happy Mardi Gras. Happy Lunar New Year. It is the year of the fire horse. Can we get some fire horses? Do we have any fire horse emotes anywhere across Twitch? Can we get some fire horses in chat? Mardi Gras and fire horse year. Yeah, it's huge. It's a big day. It is a big day. Wow, thank you everybody. Thank you so much for the bit strike. Thank you. And happy 1 year, Toxin. Thank you for the 12 months. What was I talking about? I was talking about FD Signifier's video. Oh yes, FD Signifier's 4-hour video on Tyler Perry, which I'm so stoked for, because I have talked about Tyler Perry on this stream, but I know that I know that FD is the perfect person to dive deep, and I think he's also talked about Tyler Perry before. So this is his big vid that he has just put out. 4 fucking hours. FD's video is not on YouTube. It just dropped yesterday, I think. Wow, thank you for the bits. Thank you for the bits, everyone. Tomorrow is the first day of Ramadan as well. Ramadan Kareem. Yes. Happy early Ramadan. Wait, it got clapped? No. What happened? He said it was gonna, did Tyler Perry get him? He got struck with DMCA. Oh my God. That is, I will say, that is the YouTuber's nightmare. He made a community post about it. Oh my gosh. That is so shitty. Classic DMCA. Wow. Anon, thank you for the 29 gifters. Thank you for the 29 Hong Bao. So it's going to be under members only, or is he just putting that in members only right now? Not cool, man. I was watching that. Thank you for the continuation of bits, everybody. Appreciate you. I have actually should probably stop. How much do I have left here? I'm halfway through this. Okay, I'm halfway through the John Oliver video, but I do have my call with Kat in 5 minutes. Here's his post about it. He literally says in the intro that he's not sure how long the video would be up before he Branko play, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Palarice, thank you so much. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to pause on. I'm going to pause on this and then why can I not? can I not turn this off? How do I turn? I just need to do one thing real quickly. Okay. Okay. Coolly cool. Did we already cover Jesse Jackson? No, no, I have not covered Jesse Jackson, but Jesse Jackson passed away. Jesse Jackson, he was just a boy. He was just an 84-year-old young man. But the news just, I think is being reported on his passing. Jesse Jackson, who was, of course, a famous civil rights leader, civil rights icon, still in his prime. Still, he and Robert Duvall still in their prime. This is how I find out. I mean, this just happened. But I unfortunately don't have time to cover right now because I got to jump on. I have to jump on the Zoomy Zoom. All right. Let me, okay. Let me get this all figured out. Oh my God, my brain is mush. Okay. Chatting. Okay. As meme culture. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, y'all. Give me 1 second. I think that is good. Okay. Let me get that pulled up. Alrighty. Okay. Whew, y'all. I am about to jump on Zoom with Kat Tenbarge, who is an amazing journalist. She's a friend of mine. We have been talking about this issue that I have talked about on stream before, and that is of meme culture and meme culture combined with the internet's nihilism crisis and how everything is now a meme. And has meme culture gone too far? So I am going to switch over to Zoom. I'm going to turn off my camera here. I'm going to deactivate this. I'm going to turn that on. There we go. And I'm going to bring Kat in and hopefully we'll get it all going. Beep, 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 beep. Okay. For some reason, Zoom likes to, I brought her in. Okay. There she is.
Hey.
Hi. Okay. All right. I think we got it all good. I can see you. I can hear you.
Perfect.
Okay. Beautiful. And welcome in. Yay! Everybody, this is my lovely friend, Kat Tenbarge. I've had Kat on the stream before. It's been a minute, though. We text all the time, but I haven't had you on stream in a while. And before we get into our convo, I do want to link Spitfire News.
Thank you.
All right, hold on a second. There we go. I'm going to link that. So Kat is a journalist, and like a lot of amazing journalists, has gone independent, has moved over to Substack or other platforms where they can write freely. And what's happening with your YouTube? Where are we at with the content creator aspect of Kat Tenbarge?
A great question. So I don't have my own like fully functioning channel yet. I am making like daily videos for a channel called Courier that
Okay.
does like a lot of political news. So people can definitely find me over there. But my stuff is mostly at Spitfire right now.
Okay. And your stuff is great. Spitfire is a newsletter. You write about culture, you write about politics, you write about media. You focus a lot on gender violence. You focus a lot on these major cases of abuse in industries like Hollywood. You covered, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. You have talked about the smear campaigns of Blake Lively, of Meg the Stallion, just how often this seems to be, unfortunately, a reality that we have a woman in the entertainment industry who accuses a man of abuse, and then it turns into this whole fucking charade, this whole spectacle. It is all, consumed for entertainment purposes. It is used by these hordes of online creators who have taken full advantage of our cultural misogyny and really lean into these smear campaigns. I texted this in our group chat, but something that I need everyone to understand is Asmongold. As Asmongold? Asmongold was doing wall-to-wall coverage during the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. And that is the beginning of him moving away from his, previous content, gaming mostly, and into this reactionary right-wing slop shit that he does.
Yep.
So never forget that Amber Heard and Johnny Depp was a major catalyst, not just culturally, socially, legally, but also for a lot of now big right-wing streamers and content creators who really blew up during that time, had crazy views, and realized like, oh, this is a recipe for success. So yeah, it goes back to that.
Yep. It was like the gateway drug for them to have a bigger audience because the algorithm was pushing Depp Heard content so heavily. And then it was the catalyst for a lot of these like misogynistic attitudes to then funnel right into traditional conservative attitudes because they're ultimately one and the same.
Absolutely. Also, Austin Cho, thank you so much for the raid. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. I'm about to get into a conversation here with my friend Kat Tenbarge, who's an amazing journalist. And we are going to talk about meme culture and the problem with meme culture. Has meme culture gone too far? The answer is yes. The terms of, memification, of memifying, that unfortunately are real terms because of how widespread memes are and how they have invaded, every aspect of online discourse, the way that memes are used to discuss social and political topics, and why it is often now problematic. So that's what we're going to be chatting about today. This is something that I have talked about on stream. You've written about this. I swear to God, I read a piece of yours.
Yes, I've written a little bit about this. I've done some like podcasts talking about this with regards to Epstein recently. And I wrote a couple pieces for Spitfire News about this too.
Yeah, I definitely remember reading something of yours and I was like, ooh, Kat's the perfect person to have on for this conversation. Everything is turned into a joke nowadays. Yes, it certainly is. So let's start off. Can you give us a little history on meme culture? Like, where my understanding is that 4chan, as it does often, had an initial, plays an initial role here, because a lot of memes really started out on places like 4chan, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I like, in looking at the history of memes, it's a digital version of something that has always existed in our culture, which is just like common sort of like grassroots terminology and slang that groups of people begin to identify with and use colloquially. So it's basically just like a catch-all term for in-group language, but on the internet, we see memes become this content genre where it's like you have the classic memes going back to like the I Can Has cheeseburger era of the internet in the early 2000s, like cat memes. And you have like advice animals and like those early types of memes. And 4chan as well as Reddit, I would say, are both two big sort of like experimental parts of the internet that developed a lot of early meme culture, along with like Tumblr and some of these like other earlier social platforms. With 4chan, you really start to see memes take on a political connotation and become a driving force for a certain segment of the population, which is what we saw in like the 2010s, along with the rise of Donald Trump's campaign, where 4chaners who were overwhelmingly like disaffected, nihilistic young men began to identify with these symbols of that worldview. And it was a very anti-establishment, very like, again, like disaffected.
Yeah, very nihilistic.
Yep. And that's where like Pepe the Frog and some of these other memes that accompanied the rise of Donald Trump's particular brand of white nationalism, that's where a lot of that stuff started to originate. And that is when internet culture journalists and historians in particular were like, okay, so memes are not just a funny thing on the internet for people to laugh over anymore. They also have come to represent like our identities, and they can serve as a conduit for like real life, very important, consequential political action. So like, I don't think that Trump was elected solely because of 4chan memes, but what's undeniable is that these far right figures and these alt-right figures, they draw from meme culture to ultimately like bolster their support. And even to this day, Trump shares memes created by 4chaners. If people saw like when Trump shared that racist video of the Obamas as gorillas or apes. That was an edit, an AI edit created by someone who had like a Pepe the Frog AVI on Twitter. So like a direct line from like 4chan to the president's racism. And that is something we've seen since like 2015 and even before.
Yeah, I mean, I think he really prides himself on being the meme president. He has leaned so heavily into it. And it's also, it's not just Trump, like it's DHS, the way that they also, they post memes, they engage in meme culture as well when bragging about brutalizing immigrants. Like it's really dark.
Yes. And I feel like before you saw it take on this conservative political bent, you started to see like corporations and brands embracing meme culture in like the earlier half of the 2010s. Because I always trace it back to the Denny's Tumblr account. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about, but
I'm sorry,
you know,
the
Caroline?
Denny's Tumblr account? Please explain.
Okay, so back in like the early 2010s on Tumblr, Denny's was one of the few corporations that had a Tumblr presence, and Tumblr was like a huge progenitor of memes and meme culture, and not in a conservative leaning bent. Like Tumblr was actually the inverse of 4chan, where it was like more of a
Very
left
woke.
leaning,
Yeah,
very
very
woke.
woke.
And so the Denny's Tumblr account, which was operated by someone who was very ahead of the curve, they started engaging with the Tumblr user base in the language of memes. They would engage with people, like they would always have their ask box open and they would say really funny things to you. And they just like, they really leaned into like the abstract kind of meme language that was popular at the time. So like with memes, the more layers there are to it, the more understanding you as the consumer have of like this internet language. So like memes over time have evolved from like a setup and a punchline to like you have to understand 7-8 things going on the internet to understand this one meme. And that like in the decade of the 2010s, corporations, politicians, celebrities, like the kind of establishment that meme culture was against started to embrace meme culture so that they could be more popular, so that they could build a base, so that they could seem like very cool and like with it
We're
online.
so quirky. We're so quirky.
Yes.
We're just like we're just like the rest of y'all, except we're a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Right.
This was something
And-
I remember Wendy's doing a lot. Wendy's getting in like Twitter comments, Wendy's posting memes, being like, hey, we're just like you guys.
Yes. Wendy's is such like a huge like hallmark of this. And even today, if I see like a viral TikTok or a reel and I open the comment section, there's almost always like a blue check brand account hopping on to the trend or trying to engage with it.
I can't remember what it was recently, but there was some it was like some TikTok or some trend, and the comments were all blue checked corporations. It was Wendy's, it was Taco Bell, it was Burger King, and I think that is that's like the peak that we reached at, right? Where that is the result of how corporations, how the establishment got involved in what was initially, outside anti-establishment, just people on the internet engaging in this type of communication, in this type of brand of internet humor, and then just seeing like the entire comment section be blue check marked corporations was like, oh yeah, okay, this is where we're at now. Kamala is Brat. We've got Wendy. We've got Wendy's in the comments.
Yeah. And the thing about like meme culture is that it always has to be taken one step further. So like when the brands get involved, you see the meme culture become more like inappropriate and offensive on purpose so that it's something brands can no longer partake in.
Oh,
and it's like,
interesting.
yeah, there always has to be another layer of irony. And that's where I think you see meme culture start to get really extreme, is like pushing back on the sort of corporate takeover of internet language.
So many layers of irony. At what point is it no longer is it no longer ironic?
Right.
Yeah. So this is something that now has really bled into mainstream popular culture, into the broader culture, the way that people communicate. And a lot of Gen Z has argued, I guess, that memes have been a way for them to handle the social and economic and political insecurity that has plagued so much of their lives. It's not that, a lot of Gen Zers will say, we don't engage in memes as a form of communicating our thoughts on politics and on society because we don't care. It is because it's a way for us to like keep our heads above water. And I do think for some members of Gen Z, that is true. I think there are a lot of Gen Zers who are obviously, they're politically active. They're aware. Memes are a part of they're a part of their generation. It's just what they grew up on. And I understand, I do understand that argument. So it's not that I think all memes are bad, but I think the problem here is the way that meme culture has gotten to this point that there are a lot of people who do use these memes in a very almost post-ironic, fatalistic, nihilistic, who gives a shit, nothing is serious kind of way. That they aren't young people who are tuned in, who are using memes as like, gotta make a joke while driving home a point that this is fucked. It's darker than that, and it's taking the most serious issues and actually zapping them of their seriousness, divorcing them from their context, and having the effect that actually there are people who go, you know what, this person, like Jeffrey Epstein, had aura, because here's a fan cam, meme of them set to a Drake song, and just gotta say that island was probably lit.
Yes. I feel like I am super sympathetic and agree with the idea that sometimes humor is a really good coping strategy. And like dark humor is something that people can use to help them like understand and process like learning things that are really upsetting and disturbing. The problem becomes like when memes are the only way you can talk about these things. And also, I do think meme culture leads people into like very unproductive directions. A lot of memes rely on like conspiracy thinking, and you see this a lot with like the Epstein memes and discussion, where people are using the language of memes to almost like transform the reality of the case into like they were all eating children and doing blood sacrifices. And it's like, we don't actually have a lot of evidence for that. Like we have evidence of systemic sexual abuse, but people are like using meme culture to make it like more extreme past the boundaries of what we have evidence for. And then with that sort of conspiratorial bent, it also becomes this idea of like memes then reflect our feeling that there's nothing we can do. Like memes become a conduit for this idea that this is just how the world is, this is just the status quo, and this type of stuff is going to keep happening because we feel like we have no power. And I think both of those attitudes are ultimately unhelpful, and I've seen them like spiral out in very specific ways. But I think that like if we, at the end of the day, if all we can do is like make humor about this situation, that's not going to make anything better. And instead, it's actually going to minimize and trivialize the sexual abuse at the heart of the Epstein case.
Yeah, and I think as far as the lack of power, the lack of having control, I think that that is an aspect here as to why memes are so popular and why memeing about the worst things in the world are only increasing in popularity. Like I do think that all the memes of Epstein is indicative of kind of just how prevalent this has gotten, how the heights that meme culture has reached. And I think that is a reflection of the increasing lack of power and control that people feel. And the enticing nihilistic kind of vibes online that, again, you know, this is coming from platforms like 4chan back in the day, this kind of feeling of being disaffected, of who gives a shit, you know, nothing is serious. And the example I use a lot is the guy who killed the migrants at that ICE detention facility. I remember reading about his former friends, and they were like, yeah, he's a guy who he loved 4chan, you know, he loved these places online. And at first it was like, okay, the memes were just online, you know, that was just what he engaged with on the internet. And then he started to use that in real life. Like the way that he would talk to us was through memes. Like he became a meme himself, and it was insufferable. Like it was so bizarre. And so his friends started to drop him, and he became just more antisocial and isolated. But yeah, that is how I think the kind of the kind of bleeding of the online into real life. So like this isn't just something that people are disaffected online, engage in you know 4chan style memes, but then once they're offline, like, oh, totally different person. No, it's like having a real effect on the entirety of their life.
Yes. And it's like we know that at least one mass shooter directly linked 4chan in his manifesto. Like he talked about it directly. And in addition to that, we keep seeing 4chan language and meme culture in particular show up in a lot of acts of like mass violence and terrorism, where it's like even the guy who shot at Donald Trump, or it was either Trump or Kirk.
No,
like
it
one
was
of
Kirk.
Those shootings. Yeah.
It was Tyler Robinson because
on the bullets,
yes.
the inscriptions. Yeah. And it's bizarre seeing that then compound in on itself and become a part of 4chan meme culture. Cause then you see like those AI videos of the Charlie Kirk shooting, and you see like all of like the memes about Charlie Kirk, and some of them even involve Epstein. I was talking about this on a podcast, but like my little brother showed me a YouTube shorts that came up for him. And it was an AI video of Jeffrey Epstein catching the bullet before it went into Charlie Kirk.
Oh
and it
my
was like
God.
it was like the camera turned around and like the music swelled and it was Jeffrey Epstein. And I was like, I keep coming back to that because I just think like it is an endless cycle of sort of like violence. And it's easy to see why, because this sort of rhetoric minimizes the violence and it turns these figures and these acts into a joke that is meant for people to just like consume unthinkingly. And so like even if there are aspects of this culture that are genuinely funny, you can see that it does have a very real, very detrimental effect on people who engage in it for too long and to too extreme points of view.
Yeah, and I think we've seen this happening over the last decade, and it's really reaching these alarming heights. I think truly the Epstein memes, and I just saw another one that I commented on Twitter that had comments like, Epstein actually seemed pretty, he's so ooh, or he wasn't as bad as everyone said he was. Like this is encapsulation of the problem here. I think the Epstein memes is kind of peak issue with meme culture.
Yeah. And like we see there are so many like cases of this where a man who's accused of violence is sort of almost like feminized and infantilized in these meme portrayals.
Yeah, babe, he's so baby girl.
Yes, we saw this with the Johnny Depp trial because there were Johnny Depp fans who were making these like chibi edit like drawings of him, turning him into this like very cute, non-threatening, like lovable caricature, when the reality is like these are men who are accused of like very violent acts of harm against multiple people.
Yeah.
And that can literally translate, as with the Johnny Depp case, that literally translated into people being like, he did nothing wrong, he was the real victim. Like it can be a conduit for denial, and it can turn into an attack against victims.
I mean, I see that with Trump all the time. I see the baby girlification of Trump. And this is, so people are clear, this is not coming from people who are like right-wing ideologues. This is not conservatives who are trying to whitewash Donald Trump's image. This is a lot of people online who are probably across the spectrum politically. Maybe they don't even necessarily put themselves in any political box, but certainly I know that I've seen a lot of this from people who I know are not right wingers. They are not MAGA people, but it's just again, participating in this very popular, very now mainstream meme culture. And I think when you call it out, people will go, well, obviously, I don't think Donald Trump is, I don't think it's good, but I think it's funny. And it's like, okay, but you have to realize the effects of this, that maybe you understand how bad Donald Trump is, but like, do you? Because you're still baby girling Donald Trump. So you are, by effect, lessening the seriousness of the harm that Donald Trump causes every day, like by presenting him this way. But more so than that, it is how this adds to this culture that is growing increasingly less serious in the discussion of serious issues.
Right. And we can see with the Epstein case how this parallels and is a part of how the survivors have been treated directly. Because the Epstein survivors, many of whom are active public figures, time and time again, like they've been minimized, they've been ignored, they've been pushed to the side. The Department of Justice has ignored them, refused to talk to them, refused to hear their allegations, refused to investigate them, and has even retaliated against them by leaking their names, their intimate information, even like nude photos of them in the files, while protecting the perpetrators with these redactions. So you have the systemic institutional level of neglect and abuse at the highest levels. And that carries into this meme culture, which again, like it decenters the victims, it ignores the survivors, it minimizes and mocks their pain. And it's like disrespectful is a word that comes to mind, but it doesn't even really begin to cover it, because it's not just individually disrespectful to these survivors, although it is, but it's also disrespectful to the entire like survivor community, because it is making a joke out of sexual violence.
Yeah.
And that is how our culture treats victims of sexual violence at every level. So the common culture and discourse around these things reinforces those systemic failures. And then people are like, well, we can't do anything because the system is broken. But people fail to understand that like each of us has a responsibility in this culture. Like we all have power to change the way people talk about and consider these things. So if we're using all of our collective energy to like make these memes go viral, we could be using that collective energy for a better, more productive purpose. This is just like the easy sort of thoughtless way out of it.
Yeah, it is exactly as you said, reinforcing the already reality in our culture, which is that abuse victims are not taken seriously. And so reminder that abuse victims, which include Epstein's victims, all are on the same, we all share the same internet. We are all online in the same places. A lot of Epstein survivors have actually used the internet to talk about the abuse that they faced in their quest for accountability and for justice. You know, they have YouTube channels, they have podcasts, they use social media to try and to try and bring about accountability and justice here. So we're all on the same internet. Just remember that. And also, it is, as you said, this isn't just about the survivors of this case. There are a lot of people who are survivors of abuse, and when they see a joke being made out of it, like during Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, like during Meg the Stallion and Tory Lanez, like during Sean Combs's trial. I mean, just such a proliferation of memes. And what that sends the message of is that abuse is not taken seriously. And that is what victims of abuse already know. And so it does reinforce that understanding. And it does then, unfortunately, keep us in this position where we cannot push forward. We cannot progress as a culture. And cultural change happens before political change. Politics is always going to be slow. It is always going to be behind. So that is why we always talk about how important it is for this cultural change. And all of us, you may feel like, oh, I don't have any political power. You know, I'm just one person. First of all, you do. But you also have cultural power. You have the ability to affect change in our culture. And that is something that we all need to be remembering every single day and be doing what we can in that position.
Yes. I actually just came across in the Epstein files today, I came across this email, and it was from a redacted Epstein survivor. But in this email, it was really gut-wrenching to read. It was contemporaneous. It was within the past few years. And she was basically saying like, I am not a public figure and I have not been protected. And she actually said, like, I've seen the way that people attack Amber Heard. I've seen the way that people attack Danny Masterson's victims. I've seen the way people attack Trump's victims. Like, I've seen the way that all of these high profile victims are attacked. And that is happening to me as well. But I don't even have any of the resources that these other victims have. Like, nobody knows who I am. I'm not a public figure. So I don't have anything here. And it was so gut-wrenching to read, because of course that's the message that's being sent not only to these specific survivors, but as you said, Caroline, to every survivor. And I think about how survivors who have yet to come forward, survivors who have yet to even be abused, people who will be abused in the future. Like when they see the way that the public responds to the Epstein files, they will understand two things, like intrinsically. One, that reporting will not get you justice by any means. And two, that coming forward will also not get you any respect or sympathy from the public at large. And in fact, like coming forward and sharing your story can result in all of these negative consequences. And so I think that is a very like sort of damning message and consequence of this meme culture, and why like talking about how we individually cope is not enough of an excuse for participating in this.
I think we have to talk about, like in a lot of aspects of our consumption, ethically consuming memes. Like I do think that is something that needs to be a part of the discussion. Drawing lines. Not everything should be a joke. Not everything should be communicated in just memes. We need to, in the same way of like talking about true crime consumption, the ethical consumption of true crime, meme culture, like how we ethically produce and share and communicate in memes. And I think it's something that it's always been seen as this like silly whatever thing that's not been a consideration, but it absolutely needs to be.
For sure. And I think about how many like pro-Trump podcasters and like these really popular podcasters who had Trump on during his campaign, several of whom are now being like, whoa, I didn't know that ICE was going to be this bad.
Yeah,
a lot of these guys, right. A lot of these guys were stand-up comedians. Like they have these histories of engaging with comedy. And it's interesting to me, like you see the line between offensive, conservative leaning material in the comedy space, in the humor space, which is now predominantly the online space. That can be a straight line to enabling like authoritarians rise to power. They can happen in the exact same space. So when people act like the internet doesn't matter and act like it has no consequence, I'm like, we are so past that. We are living in an era that is entirely defined by consequences of things that happened on the internet. So nothing to me speaks more to this idea of like people don't have any individual power than when I see people misuse their power online. When I see people make jokes that are really offensive and really harmful, and then those jokes go viral, it's like, look how much power you actually do have. And even if you're not the one posting, even if you're just commenting or liking or just scrolling through, it's like, there are very tangible things that we can do to create better online environments that directly impact our culture, that directly impact our politics.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of just have a little common sense here. When something is bad because it is being directed by, say, a fascist government, this is the consequences of fascism, and we treat it as a joke, what side do you think that benefits?
Right.
Who do you think benefits from treating something serious as an unserious thing? Well, I will tell you, it's the fascist side. And that is why they themselves encourage it and lean into this shit. That's why you have DHS memeing their abuse of immigrants. That's why you have Donald Trump memeing, and also AI memes. Like that's the new version here too. The AI generated slop memes that it just makes me want to die every single day.
Literally.
Oh my God. And I also think too, we've talked a lot about Gen Z because Gen Z really is the generation that I think grew up on the internet the most. Millennials kind of split. But you know who uses a lot of memes? Boomers on the internet. Y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? The racist Facebook memes that these boomers love to share. And guess what? They're the types of people who they share that stuff via text message, via email. I have conservatives in my family that I've had to leave group chats of, that I've had to block on, on all forms of communication, because that is how they also now communicate. They like send these really racist memes. They're still sending the racist Obama memes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which of course, that's what Donald Trump just did, He just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worked so well for the people who are currently in power. And one person who I think of who has benefited so much from this culture is Elon Musk.
Oh,
And
yes.
like even directly with the Epstein files, of which Elon Musk is in like hundreds of times. And Elon Musk, like, I don't know if people remember, but like just a few months ago, Elon Musk tweeted like Trump is in the Epstein files and that's why he doesn't want them to get released. And at the time, a bunch of people in like the mainstream media and people just online in general were like, it's so crazy that Elon accused Trump of being in the Epstein files. That's the worst thing you could possibly accuse someone of. So clearly like their relationship is over. But then they got dinner together a few months later.
Of course.
And they're actually still just as cozy as they were before. Yeah. And to me, that proves that like the culture around being in the Epstein files has been memeified to such an extent that it no longer even matters if you're in the Epstein files. Like that is what they have a kind of been able to accomplish. And you see Elon Musk pointing fingers at other guys who are in the Epstein files being like, look at Reid Hoffman, look at Steve Bannon. And it's like, yes, all of these people are like are incriminated to some extent by what we have in these files. But the fact that Elon is able to weaponize it to his own benefit shows me like how powerful that culture is in being able to help these guys like cover up their own wrongdoing and move on from it. And I think Elon understands all of this to some extent because it's like, that's why he bought Twitter.
Oh, he's the meme lord.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he bought Twitter. That's why he remade it into this like fascist pipeline. And he's also one of the titans of the AI industry. He produces like realistic looking AI images, as we all know, with Grok. Like Elon was gladly sharing photos of himself that were generated by AI. It feels very convenient knowing that like whatever incriminating information comes out, he can just be like, they can flood the zone. That was Steve Bannon's entire mentality around Trump's first campaign, was like, flood the zone with so much shit that nobody has time to sit there and piece out like how bad it all is.
Yeah, I mean, that has been a strategy with dumping all these Epstein files. And the other thing is now too, you have people who are like posting fake Epstein files. Like they are either AI generating or through whatever other means where there's so much confusion. People are very overwhelmed. That, of course, is because, you know, that's why the DOJ did that, where they dropped all 3 million files. Now they're like, wait, Marilyn Monroe and Elvis are in the Epstein files? Like, this is ridiculous. But then there's also fake files. Like there are fake names in the Epstein files, and that further leads to the confusion, muddying the waters, flooding the zone. And the whole idea is if everyone's in the Epstein files, then no one really is.
100%. And I remember this happening even back in 2019 when Epstein was federally indicted and arrested and then died in jail. And people were starting to gain documents and like release documents, like flight logs was starting to reach the public. And these flight logs would have lists of people like Bill Gates. They would have different academics on there, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump. Like these were the real names. But then people started adding all of these other names that were not on the flight logs. And one that I remember specifically was Chrissy Teigen.
Yes,
was
I remember
accused of
that.
being, people accused Chrissy Teigen of being on the Epstein flight logs. At the time, she was a child. So it didn't even logically make sense, but people have figured out that they can just weaponize this stuff in a very partisan way at their disposal. It's very easy for them to do so.
You also have stands, like the Stan Wars, that now use this as part of the Stan Wars, where they will go, oh yeah, well, my fave's not in the Epstein files. I mean, there's so many different cultures online that are all converging in this absolute mess. And what's happening is like we lose focus. Like you said, the actual victims here are decentered, as they are every time. People go, I'm checked out. I can't do this. It's too much. Others, you know, bad actors will take advantage of this, like an Elon Musk, you know?
Yep.
That's why when people go, well, why would Elon Musk be pointing fingers? Because none of it matters, because he knows that he can just make a joke out of it. He can be the one, you know, going, ha ha, nice, with his sideways, you know, laughing emoji, and you know, boasting about these epic memes. I mean, that is Elon Musk. He is the self-appointed meme lord. He is the, you know, he's the cool epic dude who owns Twitter. And so, yeah, it just right now, this really, as I said, it really feels like the breaking point.
Yes, I totally agree. And a lot of it does come back to the fact that like the Department of Justice clearly did this intentionally.
Yes.
Like they intentionally delayed the release of the Epstein files. By law, they were supposed to have released them all last year and they didn't, and they still haven't. And they're now claiming that they're done releasing them when other evidence suggests they've released like a tiny fraction of them to the public. In addition to that, like I've spent so much time over the past few weeks reading through Epstein files, and I feel like they did this on purpose. They release like the same file over and over and over again with different redactions. So if you look up like Johnny Depp, for example, as I did this morning, it'll give you 250 results, so many to comb through. 40% of those results are like the same email with like different redactions and like different like versions of it. So it's like they purposefully made it so hard and so convoluted to get to the truth of what is in these files. Had they done their jobs properly, had they allocated the right resources, and had they actually wanted to get justice for any of these victims, which I don't believe they do.
No.
But if they did, they could have made this so much easier for the public to consume. But purposefully, they've made it almost impossible for the public to consume. And whenever you have a situation like this, where like no single person can unpack all of the Epstein files at once, that breeds conspiracy, it breeds disinformation, and it ensures that like the full magnitude of what's exposed here will not be able to be consumed by the public in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree as well that this was intentional. I was reading an interesting thread from a lawyer about how there's a reason that when they have a case, like a legal case, and they're in the courtroom and they're having to show evidence that involves child abuse, that like there is a there is a very specific way that they have to display that evidence for the jury. They can't, you know, they don't just drop it all, and how it's essentially the opposite of how the DOJ has done this here. And they did that because it was intentional and because of the chaos that produces.
Absolutely. It's totally chaotic. And it's also like, even with how many steps they've taken to, like, for example, redact tons of incriminating information, you look at these Epstein files and literally the whole email will be blacked out.
Yeah.
The sender, the name, the email, it's like, what is this? There's nothing we can do with this. And it goes all the way back to the FBI in the 90s, because for 40 years, people have been calling the FBI and the DOJ and reporting these crimes, and they've never investigated any of them to completion. So it's just like, and that in itself, I can understand why people are like, this is so awful. I have to use humor to cope with this, because the magnitude of it is just too much to bear. So I'm very empathetic toward people who have that reaction, but you can't just like laugh and move on.
No.
You have to like sit with and process like the scale of how just like backwards the justice system is, because that's the only way we can move forward from this. Otherwise, nothing will happen. And I think a lot of people are like, what's going to happen? Like, is anything going to happen? And the unfortunate reality is like nothing will happen unless we as the public ensure that it will happen.
Yeah, I understand a lot of this is a defense mechanism. You know, it's a way to cope. It's a way to a way to just get through what feels like just total impunity for the rich and powerful in this world. And And yet, though, I think this pervasive nihilism is something that we have to push back against every single day.
Yep.
The nihilism is the point. That is what they want us to feel. That's the place that they want us to be, because then it means that the truth of what we're talking about here matters a lot less than this the ability for it to be turned into content. And then the way that content is consumed and reacted to, and it just keeps like you talked about with like the multiple layers of irony, and also how a meme can start off and can have a purpose to it. It's not just a joke. It's like the message, the political message that the meme is representing, but then it gets so, it just gets to this point that it's so divorced from the context.
Yes.
And there is no truth to it.
Right. And it's like the elites really want people to engage with this material in this way because that protects them,
Yes.
because it ensures that nothing will change. And what the elites don't want people to do, like what people in the Epstein files don't want to happen, is they don't want people to like parse any of these documents too closely and come up with specific action items to pursue, which the good news is that is happening in some cases. Like when it comes to a lot of the academics named in the Epstein files, different college professors, different deans, different executives, like those campus communities are outraged. I was like just reading a petition that someone wrote about like one of these college professors, and like this person who made this petition did the work. They read all of the Epstein files corresponding to this professor. They highlighted portions, they created this petition, and that petition got like 8,000 signatures in like 5 days. And the school took the professor's about page down. So it's like when people actually find an issue to care about, when they like chip off a block of this massive scandal and are like, this relates to my community or my interests, and I'm going to pursue this one thing, that's what they don't want you to do. Because if you focus your efforts on like tangible small steps, that is how progress actually happens. That is how like we're seeing all of these artists abandon that one music executive. Wasserman. Yeah. Like that is a very productive, like small individual step that a person can take. And together they are powerful. And together we're like seeing some of these people have to start face consequences. But that is so much more productive than just engaging with like the broader memes about the situation.
There have been some examples of communities engaging in collective action and protest against businesses that were going to rent out warehouse space to DHS. And essentially, the community finds out, they stage very effective protests. And in a couple instances that I have seen in the last week, it has actually resulted in those businesses saying, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to rent this out. We're not going to rent out the space. We're not going to engage in a financial partnership here with DHS. Like heard y'all.
Yeah.
And that is the result of community action. And that is something where, that's not taking down the entirety of DHS. That's too big, right? You focus on what you can do in your community. And as we talked about earlier, it's also about the cultural change that we can affect. We are all a part of different cultures, right? Whether we're online, whether in our real lives. And that is something that we can be working on every single day, is like, how do we communicate with the people around us? How do we push for these cultural changes that then political changes will follow from?
Right. Absolutely. And it's like when people unite behind the idea that specific individuals and specific behaviors are wrong, like that is when change can be affected. And it doesn't, like, contrary to the idea that nothing online matters, we've seen time and time again that like even a few people leaving like negative reviews or angry comments or emailing people, that can actually have a big effect. So contrary to like this nihilism that is communicated through these memes, which is basically like the end result of so much of this is shadowy forces rule the world. There's nothing we can do about them. Like they're gonna pick us off one by one. And so there's like that is the idea behind so much of this meme culture, but it's not actually true. Like there aren't like shadowy forces running the world. Like we can actually see within these Epstein files, like who was responsible for what. And a lot of the people communicating with him were just like run-of-the-mill professors or like people in like the business community, lawyers, publicists, like these are real people and they're not shadowy. They just benefit from all of the attention being diverted elsewhere.
The other thing I'll say is to anyone who's like, oh, online doesn't matter, then why the hell do you think the administration is coming so hard after our digital freedoms?
Yes.
Why do you think that they are engaging in mass surveillance, in censorship, these platforms that we use like Discord that are kowtowing to the administration's quest for ultimate power over the people and are pushing these very invasive age verification and other surveillance policies? So no, absolutely what happens online is important. Online is where we can see actual organization and the results of people speaking up. Like that is why they are trying to stop this. They are trying to control what we are able to do online.
Yes. And like that surveillance, like there are so many examples of this when just recently in the Pam Bondi hearings that went super, super viral, like she had a binder in front of her. And in that binder, she had the search history of every single member of Congress who looked at the unredacted Epstein files that only Congress has access to. They were tracking them and they were keeping note of like, okay, this representative looked at this file, this file, this file, and this file. And so then during the confirmation hearings, when they asked like Pam Bondi, why haven't you investigated Donald Trump? She'd be able to cross-reference and lodge these personal attacks against these representatives. And that is a small scale version of what they want to do with digital surveillance laws for everyone. They want to be able to know exactly what everyone was looking at on the internet at what time, on what day, what web page, because then that can be used to craft personal attacks to deflect from like anything they do wrong.
So I know we've talked a lot about, we've used the example of Epstein to have our discussion here on the problems with memifying everything and how out of control meme culture has gotten. I do want to mention the Breonna Taylor example, what I texted you about, because I think what can happen too is when people are well-meaning, right? I'm not just talking about 4chan assholes who, or, you know, like fans of someone like Clavicular, you know, who have a very just nihilistic, who cares, doesn't matter attitude. There are a lot of people who are, I think, well-intentioned. They think that they are engaging in activism, but actually it can backfire. And I think the example of Breonna Taylor, who was killed by cops when she was sleeping. This happened in her home in Louisville, Kentucky. And the rallying cry became arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. And that was initially something that was a genuine call to action that racial justice advocates and activists were, you know, using that to push for accountability for Breonna Taylor. But what happened is then it got turned into a meme. And I think this is, to me, this is another standout example of how even people who are well-intentioned can unfortunately contribute to a culture that strips that intention and turns things into a joke. And so what we saw was arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor being used as kind of this punchline, as kind of this like cutesy little catchphrase. So I'd be like, I don't know, a get ready with me video. Okay. Here I am, trying on my fits from Zara or whatever. Here I go, outfit fits. And then I go, and also arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. And then I go back to doing whatever the fuck I'm doing that has nothing to do with like social justice activism.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And I think we saw that with the slogan, like, release the Epstein files.
Yes.
That like absolutely reached that point. And it's like, absolutely, like this is what Epstein survivors want. And this is an important call to action, but it can't just end there, because they did release some of the Epstein files. And as we can see, like it raises more questions than it answers. Instead of like just like release the Epstein files and like check, I've done my activism for the day, it's like we actually have to explore the systems that not only keep the Epstein files covered up, but also like fail to prosecute any of the allegations contained within the Epstein files. And I think that like people long for a very simple answer to these large institutional problems. And unfortunately, like there is no one simple answer or like easy slogan where we can just call it a day. But it doesn't have to consume your entire life. And I just think like people can be doing more. People tend to sort of think of themselves as like very disempowered, very incapable, like very insecure. But I think that is exactly the attitude that these elites want you to have. They want you to just say, like, release the Epstein files and leave it at that, so that they can say, we did, like, let's move on, like, it's been solved. When the reality is, like, I think what the Epstein files ultimately expose is that these systems of justice don't work on behalf of victims. They work on behalf of perpetrators. And so that is the problem that we actually have to solve.
Yeah, somebody in chat mentioned a popular creator who's made a lot of jokes like about release the list. And I know this person. I know that they're not, some piece of shit who thinks abuse is funny, but what happens is when, especially you're not a person who's dedicating any time to really parsing through this, to like advocating for like really seriously advocating for accountability, then it does just become I know we've used the word a million times, but it does become a meme. And unfortunately it does it does become something that people kind of they know what it means, but they don't really engage further past that. And it's kind of the constant need for brevity, the constant need for like, I just, you throw the line in there because it's something that is a popular topic, but you also don't feel like engaging in it. That's not something you're going to dive into. So you're still a part of the mainstream kind of discourse, but not engaging any further.
Yes. And it can even then be weaponized in bad faith by people, because with the Breonna Taylor slogan, like what it ultimately became, it reminds me that Jeffree Star in his video back in 2020, when he was responding to like the Tati Westbrook, James Charles bi-sister revelations, in that video, Jeffree Star was like, we shouldn't be focusing on this. We should be focusing on Breonna Taylor.
Oh my God.
And it's like, whoa. Someone with such a like racist past, obviously someone who never has posted about Breonna Taylor outside that capacity. Like obviously Jeffree Star didn't actually care about Breonna Taylor. It just became a very convenient way for him to deflect from his own wrongdoing.
Exactly. Yeah. And the way too that this gets used as a gotcha, where I don't know, this happens to leftists online a lot, where it's like you're talking about something and they'll go, wait a second, I thought it was free Palestine. Like, oh, here you are. Hassan has to deal with this a lot, obviously. He'll post a photo from a trip that he went on or some photo shoot that he does, and comments being like, I guess it's not just, you have time outside of just saying free Palestine. Like it's the way that line also is used as as in this case, a cruel gotcha. Like
Yes.
these are people who are obviously horrible and are using
Right.
that to be like, oh, I guess you have time to do things other than, talk about Palestine. And that gets applied to other leftists too, who have like called on people to speak out for Palestine. And so if you take if you post about something that's not Palestine, then they'll be like, oh, but what about Palestine? What about free Palestine?
Yep. Oh yeah, 100%. And I think that kind of how you see that work with sexual violence advocacy is like, oh, you guess you don't defend all women, like when it's someone
Right,
like
yes.
Candace Owens or
Yeah.
like someone like that. And it's like, guess you don't actually care about all women if you ever
Yeah.
criticize a woman. So yeah, I think that like surface level activism is very easy to weaponize and it's very easy to like turn back around. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's also used to dissuade people from getting involved in activism any further because it creates this expectation that your entire life has to be devoted to this cause. And like contrary to the meme culture stuff, it's like you're never allowed to smile or laugh. If you are like a left-leaning activist, you have to be like your entire being and every waking minute of your day has to be devoted to the cause. The reality is we just want people to like care a little bit more and reduce like their harmful impacts. And you don't have to make it your whole life and your whole 24/7.
Yeah. So to conclude here with meme culture, you must be engaging past memes, first of all. You need to engage ethically. There need to be lines. Not everything should be a joke. And even if you are well-intentioned, the effects of participating in, say, memeing a Black woman who was killed by the cops, a reality that affects Black people, Black women every single day in this country, you can be actually contributing harm, even if that's not what you mean. So I think it's just like people don't give into the nihilism. Okay, understand that a lot of these memes actually are to the benefit of the authoritarian power. Just engage more, have more thought that you apply to the way that you interact and communicate online. Any other last reminders or summaries here for?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that people can do that's not very difficult or time consuming at all is like follow some of the Epstein survivors who are public facing on social media. Like one who comes to mind is Jess Michaels at Jess Michaels
amazing
on Instagram. She's phenomenal. And it's like all of the energy that we invest in this type of internet culture can easily be like repurposed or shared with the energy that we invest in like more productive types of internet culture.
Yeah.
So like following these Epstein survivors, reading Virginia Jeffries' book, listening to Lisa Phillips's podcast, like reading one news article about what's going on in addition to like whatever is on the top of your FYP. Like these are very simple steps that people can take to be a little bit more like thoughtful and productive in how they engage with this stuff online.
Yeah. We all need to be more thoughtful in how we are engaging online, and especially with all the discussion around Epstein. Please do not forget to center the victims and the survivors of Epstein. And if you can't name any of their names, maybe Virginia Giuffre's name, but that's about it. I think that's a problem. But you can probably name at least 10 men who have been named in the Epstein files, because a lot of, again, the reporting is focused on that. So you should go figure out who these women are, who they were. A lot of them are on the same internet as us. They are advocating for justice here. And so please go listen to them.
100%.
Yeah. And then Kat, what are you working on? Anything upcoming that we should be looking for?
I do have a piece coming probably tomorrow on Spitfire News, which is my newsletter, spitfirenews.com. It's free to subscribe.
We have it linked there, y'all.
Free.
But please support if you can. If you can, because Kat's an amazing journalist, but also like we must support our independent journalists who have also been forced out of mainstream journalism because of the increasing authoritarian takeover and censorship. And this gives them the freedom to put out work without the big man breathing down the neck.
It's true. And yeah, my next piece is going to be about Epstein's connection to Johnny Depp and Justin Baldoni. So if you guys are interested in that, that's coming.
Oh, they are, because this is the kind of stuff I talk about on my stream. So I'm like, Kat is the queen. Kat is the queen of explaining Darvo to all of us. There are a lot of people in here who know Darvo because of you and because of the way that you have reported and written a lot on how Darvo is used, not just in these sexual abuse cases, but also a common strategy by Trump, by his administration. You know, it's like we saw this happen with the murders of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, immediately how they were cast as the actual perpetrators. Like they were not the victims, they were the violators.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you want to learn about Darvo, Kat is a great person to read her writing on. I have Spitfire News linked up there, and tell me one good thing that's happening in Kat's life, or something you're looking forward to.
Well, I'm getting married at the end of this year.
Wait, that's so fun. And you got engaged on Valentine's Day.
Last year. Yeah.
Yay!
So
we love love. We love. Oh, Kat, it's so good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, hearts in the chat. We love Kat. We love Kat. We'll have her on again soon, but otherwise I'll see you in the group chat.
Amazing. I will see you later.
All right. Bye, girlfriend.
Bye.
Okie dokie, you guys. Oh, wait, let me end. Hold on. Oh, Zoom is broken. Zoom is broken. Yeah, this is great. Love it. Okay. Alrighty. I hope that was productive. I usually kind of try and keep conversations around an hour-ish. I just want to be cognizant of people's time. I know that everyone I bring on the stream has like 8,000 things that they have 8,000 things that they do and are working on. So I'm like, if I can even just have an hour conversation, that is perfect. That was, great, solid. Oh, yay. Amazing. I'm glad that y'all stuck around for that. And I hope that I always hope it's a productive conversation, and maybe you come in and you're like, well, hold on a second, and then you sit and you listen and you go, okay, actually, that's a perspective that I did not consider before. Jeffrey, thank you for the tier 1. Skyjacker, thank you for the prime. Popper of the South, thank you for the prime. Mike, thank you for the raid. Sorry, I was in the middle of chatting. So if any Mike raiders are still here, hope y'all are having a great day. What else? Iowa Gian, thank you for the 5 months. Okay, before I go, I would like to finish this John Oliver video just because I'm sure the next time I stream, I'll be like, I have 10 million other things to do. So would like to finish the John Ollie vid on ICE and DHS, which is, it's pertinent to our conversation. We were just talking about, mentioned ICE and DHS in our convo of how meme culture has gone too far. Do you normally have morning streams? No, I don't. So I'm a late night owl. I normally stream at night. I do try, and I usually do morning streams when I am bringing on a friend or someone that I'm going to be chatting with, because most people who have more normal of jobs are, this is the time period that they are available to have conversations. So I get my ass up early. However, I have said this said this constantly. I'm like, I do like to do morning streams here and there. I like to, even when I'm tired, there's a different energy in the morning. People who can't make my night streams, EU peeps, East Coast peeps. I know that it's nice to be able to catch a stream live. So every once in a while, I always tell myself like one a week. You can do it one time a week. You just gotta get to bed a little bit earlier. I know you stream at night, but if you just get to bed a little bit earlier and then you can just make it a thing, you can consistently have at least one morning stream a week. This was a treat. I never catch your stream live. It's after my bedtime. See? Bingo. Exactly. So yeah, the morning streams are not typical. I always appreciate when you guys tune in for the morning streams. I appreciate when you tune in every time, but I know that it's not a consistent thing. So when you still show up for the morning streams, I'm like, hey, thanks. Hey, thanks. Okay, let's finish this John Oliver video. We're all human beings, and this is fucking wrong. We don't do that here. Get them banned. Get them banned. We are not the one. I always love his pop off at the end. and now this. I think what we need to end with is. I think we need to end with this, which I have not yet watched. I have not yet watched on stream, and I'm sure you guys have seen this. Okay, can I find? I'm sure if I told you, I'm sure if I told you the clip that I'm looking for, y'all would find it faster than me. Where is he? Where's the kid? The kid who punches. Where's this modern day American hero? Anti-ice. The brown jacket kid who says, okay, as he winds up. Okay, wait, here we go.
We support ICE.
Okay. This is incredible. If you have not seen this, here you go.
And law enforcement. I support ICE.
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
What a fucking legend.
Chill out, bro. I stand for my beliefs.
Every part of this, okay? Every part of this. So this piece of shit, this loser, this wannabe attention hog has an I love ICE sign, and he's recording at the school, and he's like, I love ICE, woohoo. And a lot of kids who walk by are like, wow, that's so crazy, you fucking dork. However, enter our hero in the brown hoodie. He says, yeah, I'm going to punch you. He clearly states what he is going to do, and he says it in a calm manner. He's like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. And you know what we do here is we punch Nazis.
You're gonna punch?
I'm gonna punch you in the face, and then he goes, "You're gonna punch me in the face."
Punch me?
Yes.
And he says, "Yes," like very matter of fact.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
And he goes, "You're gonna get in trouble for that." And my guy goes, "Okay," winds up.
Okay. Whoa. Chill out, bro. I stand for my beliefs.
I mean, come on. Come on. The okay and the wind up.
Whoa. Chill out, bro. I stand for my beliefs. I'm gonna peacefully stand here and support my beliefs. I support ICE and law enforcement.
Peacefully fuck yourself.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
you
against
can go
school code.
peacefully
No swearing
fuck
in
yourself.
School.
They're on their way there right now. We also have students walking out of the building as well, starting their protest.
That
I
love
support
that
ICE
kid.
and law enforcement. Am I allowed to stay here?
You
I support
Okay.
ICE and law
I'm
enforcement. What
allowed
a
to have this
fucking
sign too,
loser.
like everyone else? Okay.
What a loser. Let's just run it back one more time. One more
Oh,
time.
what's crazy about this?
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
Whoa. Chill out, bro.
God bless America. Yeah, no swear. Hey, I'm the swearing police. Hey, I'm with you guys. I love the cops. Can I stand here? Can I stand here? I'm just expressing my beliefs. No swearing. No swearing. Chill out, bro. Chill out, bro. Yeah, immediately runs to the authority. And is like, hey, I'm on your side. Him saying you're gonna get in trouble. What a little bitch. It's not even a fight. It's a straight own. Yeah, he said, I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna punch you in the face. And then he did it. You know, he's a king who follows through. He's a king who follows through. I can watch people punching Nazis all day long. We used to be a real country. We did. We used to be a real country. All right, y'all. That is it for me. I am tapped out. I am tie. So that's all we got for today. And thank you very, 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 very much to Kat Tenbarge again for joining. If you missed that conversation, the VOD will be posted right after I end stream here, and I will not be live tomorrow according to my schedule that I posted on Discord. So the next time I will see y'all is Thursday evening. So gotta get some other works done. Will this week's dinner movie be Lunar New Year Ramadan themed? I will try to the best of my ability. Yeah, I'll try to do something themed. Well, have a great rest of your day, everybody. Let's do Babylon again. Thank you for the morning stream. You're so welcome. I'm gonna send y'all over to the Surfs TV. Bada bing, bada boom. Peace and blessings to you all. Gong hei fa CHOY. I hope you all have good fortune in this new year. The year of the fire horse. I mean, come on. That shit is sick. That is so sick. Surely it must mean good things are to come on these fire horses that we are racing down this path on. We're all just horsing around. And peace and blessings to that kid. Yes, peace and blessings to that modern day renegade hero. Indeed. All right, folks. See you later. Have a good one. Thank you for joining me. Peace.